If you're going through heartbreak right now, whether that's a recent breakup or one that you've been struggling with for a while, what I'm about to tell you might be painful to hear. You might not want to hear it at all, but you do need to hear it. So you feel like you've lost the one. This notion of the one, the one person that really saw you, that knew you for who you are, that loved you like no one else possibly could, your soulmate, your person. Well, that simply isn't true. I'll tell you why I know that that isn't true. It's because that person isn't with you right now. And as painful as that might be to hear, the person that didn't choose you couldn't possibly be the one. Categorically, they can't be the one because they didn't choose you. And, you might feel like you've lost a lot. You might feel like you've lost your best friend, your future, your planned future. Maybe you're working towards that future together already. And all of that is true. That's not a lie. The pain you're feeling is true. And I'm not telling you that that's not valid, because it absolutely is. And you need to sit with that pain. You need to feel it. But don't beat yourself up for losing this person that you thought was going to be with you for the rest of your life, because they would if they wanted to. And whether it's a fault of theirs, a fault of yours, whether it's circumstance or the relationship itself, they're not with you anymore. I want you to consider this. Think about how much you love or did love that person. Would you really want them to be with you knowing that they don't love you in that same way, that they weren't willing to put that effort into the relationship like you were? They didn't see the relationship the same as you did. You saw this future together that they didn't see, whether they told you they saw it or they didn't. They're not part of that future anymore. And the sooner you accept that, you can start to move on. And again, that pain that you're feeling is valid, it's worthy. You're going through heartbreak. You can't think your way out of this problem. But it will bring you peace to know that you haven't lost your person. That person is still out there. That notion of the one, there can be many people that are suited to you. This person wasn't. But there is someone that is, and they're waiting for you. And the sooner you process this and get over it and start to move forward, the sooner you can invite the right people into your life. The people that will love you for who you are. The people that will put the kind of effort in that you're willing to put in. And personally, I know this feeling all too well. I've been through 2 big heartbreaks in my life, 2 long-term relationships that ended. The first of which was the mother of my child. And we were together for 10 years. We were young when we got together. We were 15 and we split up when we were 25. And it was a fairly kind of mutual decision. We both knew that was going downhill, but ultimately it was me that made that decision and left. But it didn't make it any easier. I pictured my entire life with this person. I spent 10 years with them. And then I had to embrace a new life that was without them, essentially. Of course, she's still a part of my life. She's the mother of my child, and she always will be. And, years down the line, we're amicable now, and that's great. But at the time, I couldn't see a future, even though it was my choice to leave. And then the second time that happened to me was this year, when my wife left me. I got into a new relationship. I married that woman, and 2 years into our marriage, she decided that it wasn't something that she wanted anymore. And while I knew we had what I thought were some minor problems, that one completely blindsided me, because this time I really thought that we were going to be together forever. Learning from that first relationship's mistakes and putting in the work that I needed to, and then being hit with, someone that told me that they wanted to be with me for the rest of their life, that said that in their wedding vows, turning around and telling me that actually they've changed their mind or changed their feelings, or whatever it is. That took some getting over, and initially, I felt like I had lost the one. I really felt like this woman was going to be there with me for the rest of my life, and that's what I wanted. But then I started to reframe it, and I started to realise that I wouldn't want to be with someone that didn't want to be with me, that didn't love me the way that I loved them, because that's a sad existence. Who wants to be second best, or who wants to be on the back foot in a relationship? It's a partnership at the end of the day. And the way that I started to look at it after a while was that she gave me the rest of my life back. She saved me from years of unhappiness, whether I kind of knew it or not, years of being in an unhappy marriage. And while I thought this person was the one, she couldn't possibly have been the one, because she didn't choose to be with me. And I'm sort of laughing now, but this is a painful process to go through, a painful realization. But it can also be empowering. It can also be exciting in a way, because the unknown is scary, but God, it can be so much better than what you know to be true. Because there is always going to be someone out there that is ready and willing to meet you where you are and give you what you need and want in a relationship. And you felt like this person was the one, that they were your best friend, and you couldn't possibly imagine another life with someone else because they ticked all your boxes, right? But that's not true. That's not true. What I want you to do is, as much as there will be happy memories, I'm sure you can think of 2, 3, 5, 10 times that you felt like this isn't good in that relationship, because usually these things don't sneak up on you. I felt like they snuck up on me, but looking back, they didn't. And there are so many things that I put up with in my marriage that maybe, whether I should or shouldn't is not really anyone's decision to make mine. But ultimately, I can find someone that I can navigate those things with a bit better. Maybe the person you were with spoke down to you in front of other people, or every time you had an argument, they went and told their family and painted a picture of you that was unfair and misshapen. Or maybe they pushed back when you were vulnerable to them. Maybe they made you feel like you couldn't talk about certain things, or be yourself, or act in a certain way. And it's those things that you've got to remember, and not in a bitter, horrible way, but just as a reminder that you deserve better, and that there is better out there. So, while this video isn't necessarily advice, and I don't think anyone who's going through real, true heartbreak needs advice right now. They just want to be heard, and they want to be seen. So, I see you. I've been there a lot, but don't let it eat you up. I'm not saying skip over those emotions, because you need to sit there and feel them. You need to go through them. You need to sit in the mud for a while. But don't live there. Feel what you need to feel, but remind yourself that there is better out there. And if I do have to give one piece of advice here, it's take all of the love that you gave that person that you thought was going to be your soulmate, and give it back to you. Give it back to yourself. You know, start loving yourself in the way that you love this person. Start putting yourself on that pedestal. You know, big yourself up. Care about what you need and what you want, and put yourself first. Because usually the people that are looking for this kind of message, that feel so deeply and strongly and maybe wish they didn't, you can turn that into a positive. Because one, it's a fucking great thing if you can feel emotions like that. And yeah, it's painful, but God, it's a privilege as well to feel love that deeply. Secondly, like I say, you have that love, that energy to give back to yourself. Because you do deserve it. See you in the next one.